Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your day to join us. I'm going to go ahead and give folks another few seconds just to let the Zoom room populate, and we'll get started in about 15 seconds or so. In the meantime, if you'd like, feel free to say a quick hello in the chat, or if you want to share what organization you're from or where you might be joining us. I always love to see where our audience is coming from. So feel free again to say hello. I am in Frederick, Maryland, which beautiful fall day here, but I know folks are coming from all over the country. So again, hope everyone is doing well on this Tuesday morning. All right, we'll go ahead and get started here. My name is Kristen Schrader, and it's my privilege to lead the partnerships team here at Parker Dewey. Thank you so much, Miguel, for introducing yourself. Excuse me. Partnerships here at Parker Dewey is focused on both the students and the academic institutions. So some of you may have received an invitation for today's conversation from a particular college or university that we are honored to call our partners. Our goal here at Parker Dewey is to provide accessible opportunities to students to be able to launch their careers, and for organizations like yours to be able to connect with really great talent for the future of your organization. And so with that lens, I am so excited to be able to share a little bit about what micro-internships are, why they work for your organization, and most importantly, how you can implement them at scale at your organization to particularly address some of the challenges that you might be experiencing with connecting with early career talent. So to that end, I've got a quick poll to ask for those of you joining us live. So I'm going to launch that real quick and love to take a moment to hear about and hear from you. What hiring challenges are you trying to solve? Do you have entry-level roles right now, full-time, internship, et cetera, that you're looking to fill in the next few months as we're looking at kind of the end of the at least 2024 fall recruiting season? Maybe you're looking at trying to make your brand awareness, helping students to understand who you are and who your organization is. Maybe college recruiting season wrapped up and you're not hitting the numbers that you want to meet. Maybe you're interested in how do I assess students, because students are such an eclectic bunch and they bring so many different things to your organization. How do you figure out who is that diamond in the rough, the best fit? So it looks like most of you have responded, so thank you so much for taking a moment. I'm going to leave this up just in case we have any latecomers that join us, but it looks, based on what has been answered thus far, that the pain points that are resonating the most with most of you is many of you have open roles right now that you're trying to fill, but many of you are also interested in growing awareness with students about your organization or reaching targeted talent. And some of those might be a little bit interchangeable for you. We'll dig into how micro-internships can help with both those specific pain points, as well as a few others throughout our time together. So just a few ground rules here. We're going to keep the chat alive and well. So thank you to everybody who's taken a few minutes. Lots of Texans in the audience today. So again, thank you for introducing yourself. But feel free, if you have questions, throw them into the chat. I'll do my best to answer them as close to real time as I can. Don't want to leave things unanswered for our time together. We'll spend about 30 minutes talking over a little bit about what micro-internships are and how you can implement them at your organization. But we're also going to be talking about how you can do this at no cost to your organization. Thanks to a grant that Parker Dewey has received that is in effect through the end of May 2025, you can try out micro-internships at no cost to your organization, provided that you are hiring for open roles. So I'll talk a bit more about that in greater detail in a few moments as well. So to that end, I want to just share a little bit more about what Parker Dewey is, just so you have a little bit of a lens of where we're coming from. So our platform focuses for organizations like yours on how we can help you access, engage, assess, and ultimately hire early career talent. And early career is key here. We are focusing on students recent graduates, folks who may have pursued some other academic program, maybe pivoting their career mid-career, maybe doing something post-military or at various stages of their life, but they're early in their career. And so the types of engagements that you want to be thinking about and the roles that you want to fill are designed to be more entry level. Now, our method of doing this is exclusively focused on what we call micro-internships, short-term paid professional assignments. Now, we created this concept nearly 10 years ago, and over the past decade, we've learned a few things about what types of projects are appropriate for this early career stage of one's life, and also how to make it easy for both you and these early career talent to be able to connect. And that's our whole philosophy, is how to do this quickly, how to do this easily for you and make it as low lift and effective as possible. And I'll be sharing lots of data to share how effective this is as we work through this. Now, our platform engages a really eclectic mix of current college students, recent grads, and again, folks who may have pivoted in their careers along the way, but this is an eclectic mix, a nationwide pool of talent. So while I know many of you indicated I'm from Texas or from Idaho or elsewhere, that's fantastic. And we have students from all 50 states engaged. We have students from virtually every post-secondary institution engaged in our platform and excited to do these early career opportunities. Our goal for the micro-internship, though, is that it be more than just a singular project that you get off of your to-do list, that this can be a stepping stone for the student to hopefully fill that open role and for you to be able to engage that next great hire for your team long-term. And again, we'll be talking about how you can do that. Let me just start with the basics. What is a micro-internship? Short-term paid professional projects. And these are designed to be flexibly engaged on demand, where if you have something on your radar right now, I've got my to-do list in front of me, this is not going to get done today, I know that, but some of these projects could become great micro-internship opportunities. Those projects that generally take between 10 to 40 hours in total for a student to complete. You can delegate it to that micro-intern of your choice. You get to see them in action. You get to work with that student, and you don't have to worry about whatever that project was because the student will be doing it for you. Now, these projects are designed to have a specific deliverable. So there's a particular thing that the student would be completing on your behalf, as opposed to something that would require more of an ongoing level of support. So a micro-internship is not designed to replace a full-time or part-time member of your team. But if you think about if you had a summer intern this past summer, a discrete project that student did during that internship, those are what can become a micro-internship. And these are projects that students are completing year-round. As we're talking in, say, mid-November now, a lot of students are really excited to be doing micro-internships over winter break. Who doesn't need more money around the holidays, but also they tend to have a little bit more free time because they don't have classes and the other distractions. So I'm really excited for all of you to join today, because this is a really great time to be posting a micro-internship, working with a student post-finals, and then you can see them in action and get a jump start on your 2025 recruiting. Now, these projects are designed to have as low of administrative burden as possible for you. How and why? Well, Parker Dewey handles the payment to the student. The work product is owned by you, but we take care of the payment. The student are independent contractors of Parker Dewey, not your organization. So you don't need to worry about the HR and legal aspects of things. So, and additionally, as I alluded to before, you also can engage these students at no cost, thanks to the Frederick A. DeLuca Foundation grant. And that's the logo that you see in the upper right corner of the slide. Now, while most projects are paid for by the individual organization, by selecting eligible students, you can engage a student on a 15-hour micro-internship at no cost to your organization. The one last thing I want to keep in mind is these are designed to be professional projects, something that is appropriate, again, for that entry-level or intern individual that you would have engaging with your team. talk a little bit more about that DeLuca program, because I'm sure no cost to pique some interest. So these are designed to provide accessible opportunities, paid opportunities to students or early career talent. That's one aspect of the mission. But the other aspect is to help you and your organization to be introduced to micro-internships as a hiring tool. To think about these students as the next potential members of your team. Think of the micro-internship as that preview, that audition for the open internship or full-time role that you're trying to fill. There's no cost for your organization to participate in the program. And again, the students are getting paid. That's core to our belief in that if it's going to be a real project, which it is, if it's going to be an accessible opportunity, that every micro-internship should be paid. And so nothing on Parker Dewey is unpaid, full stop. That's just fundamental to our philosophy and beliefs. Now, the timing for the program, I strongly recommend post projects now. As I mentioned before, the students are excited to do micro-internships during winter break, so it's a great time from that perspective. But all projects also must be kicked off, meaning the students selected no later than May 31st, 2025, or when funding runs out. Now, this grant was a renewed grant, and we actually did run out of funding of the first grant. So definitely you want to take advantage of this as soon as you can so that you can engage the students that you're looking for and take full advantage of it being at no cost to your organization. So to tell you a little bit more from the student's perspective, the students you can access through this program is any student or graduate of a school in Connecticut or Florida, post-secondary institution. So 4 years bachelor degree, master degree student, 2-year community college student, as well as any historically Black college or university, or a member institution of the HSI Career Collaborative. And I know some of you received invitations from HSI Career Collaborative members, University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley being one of those schools. But this opens it up to a nationwide pool of students. And HSI stands for Hispanic Serving Institution. These are students that have a large number of Latino and Latinx students at their institution. So you'll receive these slides later. You can certainly dig in a little bit more, but the HSI Career Collaborative and the HBCU students come from dozens of states across the country. So again, if you're interested in D&I, diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, and or attracting a nationwide pool of talent, you can do so thanks to this program. The students can work on an unlimited number of projects, and you too can work with multiple students at no cost to your organization. The kicker for your organization is that you must be using the micro-internship as a way to audition these students for those open roles on your team. So we don't want this to become just a one and done project. We want this to be a project with a purpose, that this be a stepping stone for the student that you're deliberately and intentionally posting so that you can engage a student for those open roles on your team. So those, as far as your organization, though, as you see from the slide, if you're a for-profit, if you're a nonprofit, if you're a government entity, pretty big mix of organizations. You can be located anywhere across the country. The reason for the limitations on the student side is because of the priorities for the DeLuca Foundation, the grant organization who provided the funding. But as far as companies go, it's a very open playbook, so long as you are using this project to audition for those open roles. So let's talk about how to post that project so you can get started right now. Well, first of all, think about what project might be a good fit given the parameters that I just mentioned. You then select the student that you want to work with, and the work gets done. Now, to make things easy, we have a landing page that can help you not only read a little bit more about the program, you can certainly understand a little bit more about, okay, this Connecticut and Florida HBCU, HSI, you can get all of those important details, and I'll put the link to this page in the chat. But you also can see some sample projects because, maybe you're not really sure what a student could do in 15 hours. Or better yet, maybe you have an open role that you're trying to fill right now. Use these micro-internship templates as a way to audition that student for that open role. To give you an example, maybe that open role for your team is a sales role. This BDR audition project is designed to give you that audition, that chance to see a student in action for that open sales role. And I'll show you an example in a moment. And there's a few other examples, a data analytics examples, business analytics, content creator, so maybe some HR roles, an IT role, etc. You can pick any of these different projects. They're just a starting point, but they're designed to align to your open roles. But from here, let's pick on this BDR audition. Maybe that sales role is the one you're trying to fill. Just click post now. And once you create your Parker Dewey account, which again, at no cost, takes about 5 minutes to create an account. But once you log in, that particular project will pre-populate for you. Now you can tweak this description however you'd like. So add in and change the start date if you want, the end date. You can modify the descriptions. If you, for example, don't want 20 projects, or excuse me, 20 organizations to be sourced in this lead gen project, maybe you want it to see if you can get a broad list of students. You're looking for 50, or excuse me, of companies, and you're looking for 50. And maybe you don't care as much about some of these other details, but you really want some 50 companies or whatever. You can modify this as needed. Add in your location. The project will default to remote. We recommend that you keep it that way if at all possible, but some projects must be done on site and you can certainly toggle this over if needed. As for the next section, 15 hours, $300, this is something that if you are participating as part of this program, it will not cost you anything to post this project and to select and work with the student so long as you keep this affiliation listed in the posting. What this Frederick A. DeLuca Foundation affiliation / program moniker means is that the project is only going to be seen by eligible students. So you don't need to worry about weeding out students who may or may not be eligible. The only applicants you'll get are eligible students, so long as you keep this affiliation listed. Now, I would also encourage you, if you're looking for an open role, feel free to post this for multiple students. You can audition 5 students for this one project at no cost to your organization. And now you have 5 different perspectives on how to do a lead gen project and to be able to not only get additional leads, which certainly wouldn't hurt, but you can still assess those students' core skills in action. And we'll talk more about this in a moment. Now, question that came through, can we hire some for a micro-internship as a larger role for an intern? It doesn't need to be full-time. That's absolutely correct. If your open role right now is not a full-time role, but rather an internship, great. This program can assist you exactly for that purpose. One other piece I also want to highlight while we're looking at all of this is that there are no costs or fees if you want to hire the student long-term. So Miguel, to your question, if you find an amazing student for that open internship role, awesome. We don't want there to be any barriers for you to take that student from micro-intern to intern hired by your organization. And so that's why there's no cost. That aligns perfectly with the mission, both of Parker Dewey and this DeLuca Foundation grant. So hopefully you can start to see some wheels turning about how and where this could fit in. Now, as far as finishing up this posting, there will be a default "why should we select you" question that is part of the posting, but you can add additional questions if you want to have the student answer a few more vetting questions. For many organizations, this serves both as the application, but also the interview. So feel free to add additional questions as you see fit. I wouldn't recommend adding too many because then students might be a little bit turned off, but adding 2 or 3 more just so you can get a little bit more of an insight into the students' written communication styles, feel free to do so. And then when you're ready, click post. And it's as simple as that. Now going back to the slides, I did keep a couple of templates here just so you can, or screenshots, just so you can share this with others. It does include that foundation affiliation that you'll want to make sure you include in your posting when you are ready to post these opportunities. Now, once your project is posted, you will only see those students who've applied to your project. So that way you don't have to guess, are they interested? Are they available? You'll know because they applied to your project. You'll be able to see their resume if they chose to upload one, their LinkedIn profile, other details about their profile. And most importantly, you'll see how they answered those short answer questions, which provides a really great level of insight into some of their background, but also some of their written communication skills, attention to detail, and things like that. Once you select the student or students that you wish to work with, you'll immediately get their contact information and they will get yours as well, so that the two of you can then collaborate, figuring out a time to set up a meeting, maybe 10-minute, 15-minute kickoff conversation. You can meet via Zoom, Teams, whatever works best for you. But we highly recommend that you meet with the student live to be able to go over the project, clarify details, the timeline, share any background that the student might need. Maybe they'll need an Excel spreadsheet or something to get started, or some PowerPoint template. Again, depends on the project. Share that information with the student, and the student works on their own terms, on their own timeline, so long as they meet the deadlines that you and they have established. Now, we'll send check-ins to both you and the student. We'll send best practices and other information to help support you, to keep things on track. You also will have a liaison from the Parker Dewey team, so that if you have questions or hiccups or what have you along the way, both you and the student have a real member of our team, real person, and they will help mitigate, follow up, whatever might be needed if there are any hiccups. We find, though, that the students, they're very motivated. They do a really great job. And just to highlight a little bit of data, which you can see that 98% project success rate, the students are very excited to overwhelm and surpass your expectations with these projects. So again, definitely recommend, if you're looking for that highly motivated talent pool, nobody is forcing them to create accounts and apply for these projects. This is happening organically because you're engaging a student that really wants to put to work what they're learning in the classroom. As evidenced by some of the data that we hear and receive directly from students. When we survey students, 75% of them have said that they are starting to explore and excited to put to work what they're learning in the classroom as early as their sophomore year. But they're also saying that traditional recruiting, so going to career fairs and info sessions and on-campus interviews and so on, this isn't designed to replace those things, but that to the students, their belief is that this really, those methods don't really give them a chance to show all that they can do. Too many students are left behind with those traditional recruiting methods. And I can speak from my own personal experience. My career started in HR. I would go to career fairs, and you only can talk to the students who come up to your booth. And many of those students start to look very similar after a while when you've talked to 100 students in a day. But this allows you to see those students in action. This allows you to know that they really want to work for your organization because they're applying for your projects. And we're hearing directly from the students that this is how they want to be recruited. They want to put to work what they're learning in the classroom and do it in a real engagement, authentic engagement. And this allows you to directly work with them from day one. Now, from companies, from the organization's perspective, we're hearing they really like that from the one Parker Dewey platform, they can engage students across thousands of academic institutions and academic programs. We're not just focused on engineering students or business students, or this is a really eclectic mix across, you name the program, you name the school. We're also hearing that for many organizations, diversity, equity, and inclusion is a priority. And what we are honored and excited to see is that from day one, over 80% of the students who are selected come from historically underrepresented backgrounds. Now, we're not picking the students. This is happening because those are the best talent that are engaging with these opportunities. And this is also engaging talent that otherwise may have missed out on traditional recruiting. So for example, we're seeing students who are first generation students and having to work and go to school. They can't necessarily do internships, but they love doing micro-internships because they don't have to give up the job that's paying the bills in order to get experiential learning experience and connect with employers. Similarly, student athletes come up all the time with employer calls. We know that they bring a lot to the organization, but again, they can't do traditional internships. This they can do. And again, you can see from the statistics that students are doing a phenomenal job when it comes to the quality of work. Part of the reason why this method is so effective is that you're able to assess all of those core skills that we all want in our organization all along the way by authentically working with them. So for example, by just applying to the micro-internship, you know that the student takes initiative. You know that they're interested in your organization, and you can see their attention to detail and their written communication skills based on how they answer those short answer questions, how they put together their profile, did they capitalize their names and their school, all those different details. By working with them on the project, you're able to really discern things like coachability. How receptive were they to your feedback? Or did they make excuses when they didn't do something to your expectations? How timely did they turn in that final product? Or were they late on meeting deadlines? Again, we all want students that can do all of these different things. This is a way to really see if they're a good fit. And of course, with the work product, we can really assess, yeah, do they have those skills that are needed for that job, but also some of those core skills such as, professionalism, skills like, did they ask thoughtful questions along the way? Do they incorporate your feedback, and do they solve problems on their own, and so on? So how do you employ micro-internships at scale? Well, depending on your goals, our team collaborates directly with you to understand what your goals are, what open roles are you trying to fill? And if you have specific talent or populations or schools or majors, or what, we will collaborate with you and talk through those opportunities with you to be able to identify what are the projects, what are the schools, what are the majors, whatever that you may want to think about, and then to post these opportunities accordingly. We'll handle all of that collaboratively with you so that you get the fun part of picking the students that you want to work with, working with them on the project, and then seeing all the data that results from those engagements. So just to give you a few specific examples, if you're hiring right now, think about aligning your micro-internship to those open full-time roles. And you saw an example of that with that sales business development model that I just did earlier. Maybe your open role is in HR. Maybe the project can be something like identify best practices for new hire onboarding. And again, you'll benefit from the insights of lots of students who are working on that project, but you'll also be able to discern who is the best student that did the best job on that project. How do we help you do this? Well, again, we try to make this as easy as possible for you by talking with you about what is your open role and what are some projects that align. So just to give you a specific example, we have the slide here, an entry-level data marketer. What are the job descriptions, stipulations? If you need somebody that gather and analyze and report marketing data, great. Here's a project that can help you assess whether or not a student can do that. Maybe you need somebody who is able to support content strategy and marketing initiatives through data-driven insights. Great. How about this content performance reporting project? And you're able, through these projects, that we will help you create to discern those core skills that you're looking for. But we help you through this. We have 10 years of experience doing exactly what I'm describing here, and we're excited to help you put together projects that align to those open roles so that this can be a great lead gen for those open roles and a great way to beef up your talent pipeline for those open roles you're filling. Maybe you're interested in hiring somebody, though, 3 to 6 months down the line. Maybe you're really looking for opportunities to increase your brand on campus. That was something that resonated with quite a few of you in the entry survey that I still have in the little poll that I'm going to end now. That was a big response from many of you. Well, a campus ambassador becomes a great micro-internship, and you can use the DeLuca program funding to post that campus ambassador micro-internship, where essentially that student will become your voice on campus. They'll go to classes and present about your organization. They might go to campus clubs and organization, or shortlist clubs and organizations that maybe you should reach out to or maybe become a guest speaker at. Maybe they'll identify some faculty for you that, again, might become great strategic liaisons for you to get word out about your organization. But the student will do that work for you so that you won't have to, and you can increase your depth by that peer-to-peer and that on-campus insight directly from students. And then lastly, maybe you're interested in something further down the line. You're really trying to build your pipeline, not necessarily for summer of 2025, but summer of 26 or 27. In this case, I would encourage you to think about micro-internships designed specifically for first and second year students. We see that students do a phenomenal job with micro-internships at all stages of their academic journey. But when I crunched the numbers a few months ago, at that time, 6 months into 2024, 20% of students who had completed micro-internships were first and second year students. And they were being selected and doing a phenomenal job, competing against juniors and seniors and even recent grads and graduate students. These students do a great job. You can give them the opportunity, and they then become students that are a part of your talent pipeline for 2026 or beyond. And all of this becomes some really valuable data that you can start to share if you work in HR, that becomes really meaningful to help you understand, okay, where are the geographic hotspots for my organization? Or where is that database of students that are interested in my company that I want to tap into for a last minute open role that I need to fill? What are the feedback that these hiring managers that I'm working with on my team are giving about these students? So depending on your goals, there are some great, powerful insights that we can also share with you via our Parker Dewey Plus premium package. So what hiring challenges are you trying to solve? Going back to the original question, there are specific case studies and actionable ideas that align with every one of these. So again, growing student awareness of your brand, thinking about promoting micro-internships as part of your career fair initiatives, or posting projects that are looking at multiple departments, not just maybe necessarily if you're a tech company, tech roles, for example. But those are just a couple of examples for one particular pain point. We have examples that align with every one of these. So feel free to dig into this when you get the slides. But where it all begins is just to start by posting that initial micro-internship. And again, the DeLuca program is designed to make it super easy because it doesn't cost you anything. And we want to make this become a valuable resource for you to find that talent that you need now, but also that you hope to engage in the years to come. So we welcome you, and I'm going to put my email in the chat. I'd love to have a conversation with you or others on your team, or certainly connect with others on our team, how we can help best support you and your initiatives here.